So there was a police shooting that occurred yesterday, and it was in Texas. And the story so far is that a couple people were basically just ambushing cops, waiting on rooftops, and apparently used sniper rifles and hit a couple of them. So there are 5 dead and a couple others wounded as of now. And I just wanted to give this, take this opportunity to present my perspective that I know to be controversial and that I know to be very unpopular and different from that of the majority. And the reason I want to share it with you is because my background and my upbringing and a lot of my experiences led me to see things from a completely different angle that is unique to a lot. And, I've been arrested before multiple times with SWAT teams and multi-task force agencies, and I was armed at the time, and I didn't get shot. I didn't get shot because I knew how to move at that moment, and I understood what it was, what was at stake, and I anticipated their reactions and their movements. So the way I feel about it is, again, that the cops need to be willing to accept this shit. You want to fuck with people and you want to be an authoritative figure, then you have to accept that there are going to be people out there who don't like that shit. And to those who say, oh, but these people are resisting and they're armed and they're felons, this and that, that is all irrelevant, because doing those things never is enough to justify a death sentence. And again, I got caught with guns many times, and the guns, the illegal possession of the firearm, had a consequence, and that was a prison term. And it's already structured in a way where there is consequences in place for doing these things. If you're a felon with a gun, there's extended term sentencing parameters. So there's all these things already established. So to use the argument that because they had a gun or because they resisted, they got shot is garbage. These cops are shooting people out of fear, and they're shooting people out of emotion, and there's a lot of bad ones out there. So, I'm not saying that they're all bad. I've met good, I've met bad among all groups of people. But with the cops in general, you want to go around fucking being gung-ho and shooting people where a lot of the public is going to feel that you were unjustified and maybe acted a little bit too soon, then don't fucking cry when shit comes back your way. It's the same as anything else. When you want to be a fucking big dog, you want to be a fucking drug dealer, you want to be in the streets, then you better fucking be willing to take whatever the fuck comes. Because there's always going to be other people out there that are going to view you as an enemy and as a target. And with the police, in my own experience, since I was a little child, my first memories of cops and the interactions were them fucking taking me away. Them taking me away from my freedom and from my life and putting me in a little fucking cage like an animal. They were the ones who physically did it. So regardless of what the circumstance was, if I broke the law or not, that's what became associated with police for me. And that continued on in life. I viewed them as the enemy. And the way I thought of it was, regardless if I'm breaking the law or not, I'm not harming anybody. So fuck your law. I don't agree with your law. And you're going to be out there and you're going to go out of your way to try to interfere with people and physically detain them and take them and put them in a fucking cage. I don't agree with none of that shit. So the way I looked at it was, you want to do that, then that's fine. You're on that side, I'm on this side, and we're fucking enemies. And it can end either way. But it's not that, it's going to be completely one-sided and, yeah, I got to fucking worship and pray to bow down. Nah, fuck that. And there's a lot of people out there who think the same as me. And so the police really need to fucking check themselves with abusing people and abusing the power. That's what it comes down to. It's not about police versus cops or blacks or whites or Mexicans. It's not about that shit. It's about one group of people who have been given and entitled a position of power who are abusing it, and who are abusing it readily. And it's gotten to the point now where people are getting fucking fed up, and they're tired of it. And they're not going to keep accepting these bullshit excuses where we have video footage showing cops shooting people unarmed. They're fucking killing them at point blank. And then it going through the justice system and no indictments coming. What the fuck do you expect? On both sides, what do you expect? The police are going to be further encouraged to continue in their behavior because they see no consequence. The people on the other side of the fence, the public in general, they're going to feel like there's no hope in going about it in the legal route because the cops and the government and the courts and the judges are all on the same fucking side. They're not going to judge harshly against themselves, against their own best interest. So shit's going to happen. There forms two sides now, and they're in opposition to each other. And that's the way it goes. So, again, I don't feel particularly bad for these cops. Sucks that it happened, but hey, listen, I know a lot of fucking people that got killed. A lot of them. So again, to these police out there, remember, you're not a fucking hero because you're a cop. You would be a hero if you weren't getting paid. If you were volunteering and doing it out of the kindness and goodness of your heart, then you'd be a fucking hero. Risking your life for others, for strangers. That's a hero. But you're not a hero when you get paid for it. That's not a hero. That's you performing an agreed task to completion. That's it. So remember that. Cops can be fucking reasonable and good and kind-hearted people. I've had cops interact with me in fine ways. We've never had a problem where we respected each other. And so, you got to think about it in that way. That though you may not see it from that perspective, there are so many out there who, for whatever reason, circumstance, are living a life where they are the enemy to the police, and they view the police as their enemy, as the aggressor. And that's just the reality of life, and it's always going to be that way. And the only way it's going to change is a couple ways, and none of them are pretty. First, the cleanest and nicest way is if the courts were to treat police as they do civilians and use better discretion in handing down indictments and giving actual consequence for police mistakes. People who make mistakes where the result is a dead body, that's a fucking problem. I don't give a fuck if you're a cop or not. So that's the best way for this to be resolved, but that's never going to happen. The second way is that the police need to be in fear. They need to have fucking fear put in their hearts of stepping out of line and abusing people and shooting when there's no justification for shooting other than their fear. And the way that happens is like this shit that happened. The public reacts and retaliates. And the last way for this to change is for the police to start considering and addressing the question of why so many people have this negative view of them in general. And they never want to do that. That's the most difficult of all options because they never want to fucking hear for a second the thought of, maybe there's some valid points on the other side and maybe we should fucking check ourselves and find out why we're so fucking hated. So, again, I'm just giving you guys these thoughts because I'm never one to bite my tongue. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks or says about me. And this is a perspective that I think pretty different than that you'll likely hear. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and thank you.